FEMA is preparing for the big one. I'm talking about an earthquake or a tsunami in the Cascadia subduction zone, there on the coast of Washington and Oregon. Right now, our brothers and sisters in that area are experiencing multiple earthquakes. Scientists state that this is due to what is called a slow slip that happens every 14 months. Right now, we are in a slow slip. Also, according to those same scientists, they say that the big one can happen during a slow slip event. Now, before I get into that report, I just want to give a quick shout out to my partner at noblegoldinvestments.com. If you've not converted your 401k, today is the day to do that, no matter your age. Check them out in the description box below at noblegoldinvestments.com and let them know you heard it on Lisa Haven's show. Back to the report. So let's first look at what's happening in that area over the past week. Check this article out on seattletimes.com, published May 22nd, 2019. A series of small earthquakes has been detected in Washington and Oregon. At least 13 small earthquakes have been recorded over the past 2 days in Washington and Oregon. KATU2onyourside.com, published May 22nd. A swarm of tremors rumble beneath central Oregon's coast. Could be a precursor to the big one. Why is this important? Well, because it's all part of the Cascadia subduction zone, which, like I stated earlier in this report, it could mean that there is a slow slip event, which could also lead to the big one. Check out this report on strangesounds.org, published May 22nd, 2019. Scientists predict the big one will occur during a slow slip event on the West Coast. That is what is happening right now. The article goes on to state, a small burst of tremors has been recorded along the West Coast in the last few weeks, causing scientists and geologists to pay close attention. This is what we call slow slip type movement. The Juan de Franco plate is moving underneath us, and then all of a sudden, about every 14 months, it stops and it goes in a westerly direction. And as it does, it creates a lot of tremors. Check out what this scientist had to say about the Juan de Franco plate, which is in the Cascadia subduction zone. Take a listen.
And so the Juan de Fuca plate is moving underneath us a lot, and then all of a sudden, about every 14 months, it stops, and it goes in a westerly direction. And as it does that, then it creates a lot of these tremors that are on. So we are in one of these slow slip type of movements right now. We feel that in the future, when the big one occurs, it will probably occur during one of these slow slip events where everything goes back or stops moving. But what it's doing is it's putting additional stress on to the lock zone that you have. So every 14 months, we get more and more of this stress on there.
According to the scientists, the big one can happen during a slow slip event. In fact, he believes if the big one is going to happen, that it will be during this slow slip event that happens every 14 months. That said, am I or the scientists saying that an earthquake is going to happen this year, that it's going to be some kind of major catastrophe? No. All the scientist is simply saying is that if and when it does happen, I believe it could happen during one of these slow slip periods. Want to know something else? How about the fact that FEMA conducted one of the largest drills, domestic drills here in America, that revolved around the Cascadia subduction zone? The entire precipice of the drill was to prepare the area in the event of a 9.0 earthquake. Yes, you heard me right. Take a look at the actual flyer that was published during that time. Here you can see the Juan de Franco plate there in the subduction zone on the far right. Then if you glance at the bottom of the flyer, you also see the dates of the event, June 7th through the 10th of 2016. Then if you scroll on the second page of the flyer, it states, over 50 counties plus major cities, tribal nations, state and federal agencies, the private sector, the businesses and non-government organizations across 3 states, Washington, Oregon, and Idaho, will all be participating in a 4-day Cascadia Rising 26 exercise where more than 20,000 emergency managers in Idaho, Oregon, and Washington kicked off. They also conducted a tweet chat the day before on the June 6th, in which they discussed the possibility of a 9.0 quake in the subduction zone. Did I mention that this was one of the largest domestic drills conducted by FEMA? Do they happen to know a little more information than we do? Well, the truth is that 2016 exercise prompted FEMA to take more precautions. In fact, 1 year after that exercise was done in 2017, they agreed on some quote unquote improvements. Take a look at this article on FEMA.gov, and its government managers announce improvements after the Cascadia Rising exercise. Again, this was published exactly 1 year after the drill. Some of the improvements include fixing the infrastructure, that would be the fuel, the water, electricity, and communications, and also improving their response time. Nonetheless, FEMA not only conducted the largest drill, but went ahead and issued some improvements that they needed. Now, that said, I'm all for FEMA preparing. I believe that we have to. I believe that we have to have drills of certain things in order to be prepared for, well, a natural disaster of some sort. But bottom line, FEMA wouldn't be conducting these drills if they didn't believe that at some point in time, the big one wasn't going to hit. The truth is, FEMA does these drills because they know that basically it's not a matter of if it's going to happen, but when it's going to happen. They know that earthquakes are just a matter of life. And historically speaking, well, they've happened before, and it's obvious they will happen again. Thus, the preparations by FEMA. That said, FEMA is not the only one preparing. Check this out. Now, this article was published on govtech.com, April 24th, 2019, and this details training on Cascadia subduction zone to cover tsunamis and earthquakes. This is a discussion that will include a section of earthquake magnitudes and anticipated shaking. It will also be covered in tsunami induation, heights expected, evacuation, time between earthquakes and tsunami, as well as other survival tips. Now, the Coast Bay Fire Department and County Emergency Management are offering training to learn about the Cascadia subduction zone and how to be better prepared in the event that, well, an earthquake or tsunami strike the area. This was done by a local agency to prepare their own citizens, their own people, in the event of some kind of, well, catastrophe. Anyhow, the fact of the matter is the mainstream media will not warn you in any way, shape, or form if something is coming. Have you ever gotten a warning of earthquakes in the past, major earthquakes, or do they just suddenly, boom, come on your doorstep? I don't know about you, but I don't remember a single warning to date. This is why I believe it's important to pay attention to the warning signs. Am I saying that some earthquake is going to strike the subduction zone? No, I don't know if that's going to happen. I have no idea. All I can do is look at what the scientists are saying and, well, back what they say, or look at what they say and say, hey, if there's something going on, pay attention. There's rocking and rolling on the Cascadia all the time. But nonetheless, it's not something we should ignore. Anyhow, thanks again for tuning into my channel. Please subscribe. As you know, YouTube is doing this mass unsubscription to multiple channels yet again. And please share this with everyone you know. Well, thanks again for tuning in. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.